Okay, so next we have, you guys may or may not be aware, there's a development called Vail Crossings that's going to be coming off of I-10 and, what is that, Wentworth? Yeah, east of Colossal Cave. And Randy Emerson is going to talk to us a little bit about that now.
So I think first I'll tell you a little bit about how our group got involved in the ownership of the property, a little bit of the history, and then my brother Gary can talk a little bit more about the industrial market and part of the reason we're so excited about this property. Can we move on to the next slide, please? So I actually had a laser pointer, but for some reason it doesn't superimpose on the screens. But you can see from these two parcels that the property is comprised of two separate parcels that total about 400 acres. The south parcel, which has about a mile of frontage along I-10, is located east of Colossal Cave, Wentworth, and basically aligned with US 83 on the east side. The two little cutouts that you see of the property are the former winery and then the Vail School District administrative offices. The north parcel is just under 97 acres, and it's accessible off Success Drive. And both parcels have Pima County CI1 zoning, which we couldn't really find the history, but it goes back a long ways, maybe to the late 50s, early 60s. So they're kind of in a sea of low density zoning, and that's one of the things that attracted us to the property. A little bit of the history, if you've been around for a while, you may recall a project that was formerly known as the Passages back in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. The plan was that one of the attorneys for the Mall of America development in Minnesota was planning a large 6 million square foot open air, basically retail center with housing and other uses. But they got caught in the economic downturn and eventually gave the property back to their lenders. They sold it at auction last year, and our group purchased the property. So our plan is to create a master plan that mixes uses. One of the interesting things that the former owner did do was that they worked with Pima County to adopt what's called a horizontal mixed-use ordinance. The property being CI1 typically could not be used for residential purposes, but the mixed-use ordinance sets out a series of criteria that if it's developed in a certain fashion, it can be developed residential and 50% industrial or 100% industrial. The market being as hot as it is for residential in the Southeast, in Vail in particular, our thinking is that we will try to take advantage of that and develop up to about 600 home sites on the property, and the other 150 acres or so would be industrial. So it's basically development ready. It's very gentle topography, no floodplain issues. So it's basically development ready, with the exception of sewer, which is about 3 miles away. Up in Marianne, Cleveland, and Red Iron Trail, there's an interceptor that's large enough to accommodate what we plan to do. So we're working with Pima County now to try to extend the sewer so that this property would be served. And we're working with Carmine and Carla and a number of other staff members to get this teed up for development. So that's the plan, and I'll ask Gary to talk about some of the industrial uses and why we're so excited about the property.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for the opportunity to speak about Vail Crossings. And the hat I wear basically is to handle the marketing of the commercial side, assist in that marketing effort to builders, developers, users, and brokers. And so we're really excited about the project for a number of reasons. The main reasons are really basically location, time, and money. And no, the slide's fine for right now. The slide's fine for right now. So what we have in terms of location is basically the largest, or one of the largest, hard-zoned parcels of industrial land along Interstate 10 between Tucson and Phoenix. And so the other piece, the 97-acre piece, while it's not rail served at this point, the Union Pacific Railroad runs along its southern boundary. and we're exploring with the Union Pacific getting an approval letter that will allow us to bring a spur onto the site. And so while we don't have an intention of building the spur at this point, if we get that approval letter, we're one step closer to providing it for that user that may come along needing the rail. And so it's very exciting. So in terms of time, I mean, Randy had kind of alluded that the property is bought at auction, very, very low basis in the land. And so we're working to make it totally development ready, bring in the sewer, and then we'll be done. The Home Goods and the Targets and Amazons of the world, they all want, and they're looking for development ready sites. And so our goal really is to be in a position to present this to upcoming requirements for this, and hopefully some high paying R&D jobs that'll help keep our kids in Tucson. In terms of money, the developer has a lot of success in this area, has financial resources, and basically can do any land sale or build-to-suit that makes any kind of financial sense at all. And the other thing that we're very, very excited about, at least at this point, is market conditions. Right now, industrial buildings in Tucson are 95% occupied. 95% occupied. That's near historic highs in terms of occupancy. And the remaining 5% is largely functionally obsolete buildings. So, I'm currently working with a Fortune 500 company needing 25,000 square feet on 3 acres, and it doesn't exist in Tucson. Nowhere in Tucson is that building. So what's happening is users coming to Tucson are going to have to buy land. There's just no two ways about it. The buildings don't exist. And so our focus right now is to try and get the word out. I mean, I wouldn't be doing my job if some company said, hey, we located elsewhere because we didn't know Vail Crossings existed. So really, that's where you come in. We really would like to have your help getting the word out. My name is Gary Emerson. Like we said, I'm Randy's better looking brother. We have copies. We have copies of our PowerPoint presentation. If we can go ahead and, can you bring the slides up and we can run through the last couple of slides? Are we able to do that? No? Yeah. So, a little fluff about Vail. You guys know this stuff. And then if we can do the preceding slide. And okay, that's the last slide, I believe, but go the other way. Anyway, a little something about the school system, and that really makes a difference when people are looking in this town, is how well the school system is doing. We have a great story to tell there. Proximity to other major markets within a day, and so it's all great. And so with that, I will open it up to questions. You'll all be limited to 5 minutes, and my testimony is going to be limited to the report that I just gave. So.
Hi, I'm Jean Vickers. I live in Corona de Tucson. You said you're working with Tucson to bring the sewers, but you said nothing about water.
About what?
Water.
Glad you asked that question. The one of the owners, the majority owner of this property, also owns the water company, the Vail Water Company. There's actually a well on the site currently, and we've done an analysis, and there's plenty of water to support the development that we have envisioned.
Okay, then the other, it's just two brief points because I probably want to ask some questions of the roads folks. With the plan to bring, it's actually the newest plan to bring I-11 off of I-19, a little bit right around Sahuarita Road. The development I live in is right off of Sahuarita Road. We see a lot of truck traffic cutting over on 83 to Sahuarita Road over to I-19. It's going to increase if and when I-11 goes in. And 600 houses there. I don't know that there's some high schools on that side of I-10, but there's other high schools on our side of I-10. And transportation, getting kids on buses, and a lot of parents drive kids, that's just going to greatly increase the traffic coming across Wentworth, coming down Houghton. So that's a concern. And the other concern I have, I've sat on two school committees. One was for a bond, to get a bond approved by the voters. The other one was for an override extension. And I think, at least in Corona de Tucson, homeowners there have reached the breaking point of continually seeing bonds to build new schools. And we also don't see the state coming in with money. And I've asked the question before about why developers are not asked to produce an impact fee, not just for roads, but for schools. 600 houses could produce 1,000 or more students. And that's more than 2 new schools. And that's a real concern, because I don't see the people down my way willing to continue to vote for new bonds. So I just wanted to put that out there, and you can take it wherever you like.
Thank you for your concerns, and there are concerns as well, but I think I would punt on those to Jim DeGrood, maybe on transportation, and somebody at the school district who knows a lot more than I do about those issues.
And one of the people that I failed to introduce that's here today is Carmine DeBonis, who is the Deputy County Administrator. So thank you for coming. Even though you aren't presenting officially on our panel, I'm wondering if you could speak to the issue of impact fees in Pima County. Can you?
Good evening, Carmine DeBonis. I am a Deputy County Administrator over the Public Works Department, so it's transportation, flood control, wastewater, parks, those types of departments, development services. Jim Cunningham is here from the Department of Transportation and can talk about any specific roadway projects that are either ongoing or planned, or we can get into road maintenance discussion if the group desires to do that. Impact fees, though, there are some limitations in state statute in terms of what the county is authorized to impose for new development. So we currently do have a roadway development impact fee. That's the only impact fee that we connect. We do charge sewer connection fees. That is not an impact fee by name, but it is a fee that new development pays in order to connect to the sewer system and works with our treatment system and our capacity system. So the roadway development impact fee ordinance by state statute is requiring an update. So the county is currently working on putting together a new fee ordinance. That fee ordinance has the potential for some increases in what those roadway development impact fees are. We have a time frame requirement to have that new ordinance adopted by January of 2021. So we're about to the point where we're going to put out a draft and have conversations with the community and with the development industry representatives. So that's where impact fees stand currently in unincorporated Pima County.
Supervisor Christie, I would like to see the county supervisors put some pressure on our state representatives to bring back the public K through 12 funding for building new schools that was here when I moved here 14 years ago. Because without it, I think we, with all these new developments, we are going to find ourselves in a real bind. Because if the voters don't vote to pay for those new schools, we're going to see portable classrooms everywhere and very high student counts in classes. So I would ask you to put pressure on our state representatives, because I understand that has to be changed at the state, and and we haven't gotten back the money that was taken away in the recession by the state.
Are there any other questions for the Emerson brothers?
Okay, one.
So in your development, you stated that you're going to have industrial, and I'm assuming with the railroad spur coming in, there's going to be heavy industrial. So is it going to be a mix of light and heavy, or whatever's available?
The question, the question was, is it going to be a mixture of light and heavy industrial? He saw the railroad along one side. Is it going to be heavy industrial? Right now, our master plan isn't solidified. Sometimes the best way to do things is to let the market tell you what it wants. you could have a master plan and it could be totally miss the market. So we're in a position right now financially, such a low basis, that we can get it fairly development ready and let the market tell us. If there was a 95-acre rail user that came along and needed a spur, well, we'd make that happen. In terms of the frontage, heavy industrial, if it was a big manufacturer, yeah, we would do that also. So right now we're being fluid about it. No committed development plan or master plan.
I actually am going to put my citizen hat on. I'm not here on any business by any means, but I do want to know, as a avid beverage drinker, I'm not saying I'm an alcoholic by any means, but I do drink beverages here and there, and I just enjoyed a very nice beverage on the weirdest place on planet Earth. Grant and the I-10 has a brewery there that is really in this weird industrial area, but it's humming. So as I hear all this industrial, it's going to be heavy industrial, are there any considerations, and I think that's something that we lack sorely on the Vail and Corona to Tucson corridor, is any kind of, I know we have Houghton Center, and it is starting to grow and it's starting to pop, but is there any kind of consideration for any kind of retail or even, mom and pop type business plazas to kind of pop up for those 600 homes plus all the other ones that are already existing?
We'd love for that to be the case. And again, it's somewhat market driven, but you'll be interested to hear that I'm in discussions right now with a developer who is interested in 2 or 3 retail pads that would involve restaurants and some other associated retail uses. Part of the issue is that every retailer wants a lot of volume traffic right in front of their store, their restaurant. While the freeway has the traffic, the frontage road might not. So, maybe somebody would rather be at Houghton Town Center or on Colossal Cave Road coming into Vail. But I think that there is a potential there because there just aren't that many opportunities. So we'd definitely be interested in a mixed use that involves retail, restaurant, those kind of uses.
My name is Charlie Stead, and I live at Mountain View Ranch, which is just east of where you're talking about Vail Crossings is going to be. So if this goes in, is there any plans to remodel the exit 281 interchange? Because if you have all that truck traffic coming in there that has to go on the frontage road, it's inadequate as it stands right now.
That's a really good question, and it's a question that we have ourselves. We've had some preliminary meetings with ADOT, and as far as I know, the only plan right now, and maybe it's already been implemented, is a little change south of I-10 on US 83. It's the merge lane or something like that. But as far as any major infrastructure changes, I don't think it's in the immediate plans. A lot of it may depend on what happens if the mine gets built. And so our position right now is that most of our traffic will be coming from east from the Colossal Cave exit on the frontage road. There is a circuitous way to get to this property from US 83, but it sits quite a bit higher than our property does at that point. And as you go farther west, it kind of gets back to grade. But I'm not aware of any major infrastructure plans for redoing the US 83 interchange.